Okay, now we're going to do the back shocks. Once again, this is a 420 SEL. This is a 90, and it goes from 84 to 91. Normally, take the shocks out, I would look in the back over here or here, but they're not in this car. It's not in the trunk. So of course I took out the seat, and I took out the back part of the seat, pulled back a little bit of insulation in here. Just take a screwdriver and pry this off, and here you got the top nut for the shock. Okay, to get the back seat out, it's not very difficult. There's two little levers, one over here, one right over here, and the whole back seat comes out. And here's the two levers. Let me show you. See, they're right here. So all you do is you move this over, and it moves that rod, which connects to this pin right here. So it goes under here. So basically, by moving that little rod, you just move it away from this stud here, and it releases the back seat. Two little screws, right over here and right over there, that need to be removed. So if you look at the seat all the way down, right where the seat belt comes, there's one there, and then if you look at the other side, okay, here it is. Okay, there's that one removed. Here it is, and it happens to be a number 8. So let's go do the other side. Okay, so after you have the two screws out for either side, seat belt out of the way. What we're trying to do is lift it over these clips. And if you look at this side, here it is. So this piece of metal just goes over the top of that clip. Okay, the next thing is finding the shocks. Let's see. So here's the black paper. Let's pull that off a little bit. Oh, here we go. And here's the cover. It just pops off. And there is the shock right there. So let's see what size that is. Here's the number 14 on the top. Trying to get the top nut off. So basically, well, it is like a lock washer type thing. Since the whole thing is rotating, what I have to do is, this is an oblong top. I take a pair of vice grip pliers, and I hold that, and then I can take the maybe. Let's see. Okay, we broke that loose. So that's the top one, just a little lock washer type device. Now Here's the nut. It looks like it's coming off, so well, we're not that lucky. So we can hold the top with the vice grips. Okay, now I have it jacked up enough. Now let me see if I can put the jack stand under the frame in front of the tire. So remember, we want metal. This is part of the frame, not anywhere else. Okay, so let me lower the jack down and get rid of it, and then we can see if we can get at the shock. Okay, so what happened is I had to move the location of the jack, because if I had it where I had it before, then I can't get at the shock itself. I'm gonna have to move the wheel because I want to make it a little easier for myself. So let's just take this off. Okay, so here's the lower part of the shock. So that's the number 17. There's one side. Okay, now that I've taken the second bolt out, you'll see the shock comes out, but it doesn't have the whole thing. Hang on, so this looks like it broke. Well, if you look in here, the coil spring, you'll see the shaft. That's the other part of the shock. Alright, so what I'm doing here, I got a pair of vice grip pliers and I grabbed right onto the shaft. Now let's go back on the upside and see if we can take that nut off. Okay, now with the vice grip pliers, it's not moving the shaft, so we can take this nut off. There's the nut. Here's the washer. Now there's just a piece of rubber in there. Sort of pry that right out of there. There's the rubber. Okay, there's the shock, so let's go get it. Remember, you put this vice grip pair of pliers on there to hold it. So here's what came out. That's the upper shaft, and here is the lower one. No wonder the shock didn't work. Okay, so here we have our shocks. You'll see that this washer goes on, then there's a rubber. Then when you stick it up through the car and put it into the frame, you put another piece of rubber and another washer stopper, and then you screw on the nut. And in this particular case, what I'm going to do is put a secondary nut on here to lock this down. Okay, the next thing I did, remember we took this piece of plastic off, and here was the bolt. Now I'm going to take, I pried this off, I just put it back on there for show, but anyway, this way you can see down into the spring, and when you put the shock from the bottom up, you can put your fingers in here to sort of guide it through here. Okay, so what we did is lifted the car, used the jack, and just lifted it up more. Okay, we have the rubber and washer installed on the bottom of the shock. So let's just wiggle this in here, get it past all those coils, and there we go. So, and that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Just set it right in there. Okay, it won't go anymore because we're hitting the body somewhere. So let's go through the top and grab a hold of the shock. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now that we got the shock through the spring, I'm going to reach around from the bottom and push the shock up. All the way up. Then I can grab the shaft, and there it comes all the way through. So, we put the top rubber on, we put the washer on, and now, okay, so we started the nut. The top, it's got the rubber, the washer, the nut, and then here is the shaft just hanging there. So now we have to go through the bottom and bolt it up. So now that we have the top bolted in, now we just have to slowly push this in because not strong enough. Oh, and if we can't get it up, let's lower the arm down. So we lowered the arm down, which took up all the slack. So now, just going to use the screwdriver to find the holes and line it up. Okay, and we'll okay, that's one side. Okay, we'll tighten one side. And there's the other side. The bottom is bolted up. Now let's go back to the upside behind the seat and finish with the rest of the shock installation. Here's the shaft. So you can take a wrench and we can hope that the shaft doesn't turn. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Okay, now you can see the shaft turning. So, what you can do, get a pair of vice grip pliers and hold that from turning. Hold it on there. Okay, so that's the end of the way. This is where it goes down. Now, since I don't have a locking washer, I'm going to add another nut. And there. Now the shock is secure on the top, secure on the bottom. Next thing I have to do is put this little plastic door back in there. We'll just lightly tap it back in the spot. Then we're done here. We have the same thing. Just another little plastic gateway. That just snaps into place. And then we just fold over. We hook the insulation up over here, put it under the seat belt reel, and just pushed it in really nice. And then we will do the other side. Okay, so last thing is just put the tire back on, take the jack out. So let's put the tire on. Okay, so now I'll lift up the jack and take the jack out. Then I will tighten it just one more time. Okay, that side's done. Okay, the next thing is to put the seat in. Here, these are clips. Okay. If you look at the back side of the seat, you'll see this is where these go over the top of the clips, and that holds it into place. Okay, this is a little easier with two people, but when there's no one around, just make do. So there's just one little screw here. Okay, that's one side. Now we have to do the other. Fastens the back seat to the body. Okay. Okay, here's what we're going to do. This goes right here. So we're going to put the seat underneath here. Make sure these seat belts are through there. And this is where it locks. You can see it's got a little groove right here. That is where this spring goes. So we're just going to tip the seat forward. Slipped in there. See the same thing? Pull the lever, push it down. There it is. That's it. Okay, so with all the tires on and the back seat in, that is the end of our putting the shocks in.